Hello, and welcome to Here's the Thing with Robbie and Jose, where we explore relationships through a male and female perspective. With me, as always, is the lovely Robbie.
Hello, Jose.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm fantastic.
You're smiling. It's so hard sometimes for you to get through the whole spiel in the beginning.
It's the same thing every time, but I always get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Even though I have
now
to
I'm
say
going to think
time.
I'm going to start making faces to try to make you laugh. Maybe that'll be no. Okay.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Real
I'm
quick
just happy,
before
though.
you get into the episode, I have an update. For anyone who listened to the involuntary roommates episode, we talked about siblings. Jose was asking some questions about my Jeffrey Dahmer neighbor. Do you remember? He sits out in his truck and you said, don't go in the alley. He's a Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've lived at this house for like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, the haunted house.
Yes. Yes. If you haven't listened to our Halloween episode, I think we might have been visited that night. But no, first time I saw someone coming out of that home, because I said I didn't see anybody coming in or out. I finally, in 9 years, saw somebody. It was an elderly woman. I'm assuming it was his mother. That's why he sits out in his truck listening to music instead of being inside.
You know what this reminds me of? Psycho.
Oh my God.
Because
You're just,
Norman
okay.
Bates lived with this mother, quotes, I'm doing air quotes, lived with this elderly mother whom you just never really saw.
You know what I'm thinking about it now? When I saw her, it was just her backside. It could have been him in a wig, bent over.
Wow.
I didn't think about it like that.
That's
I
the
was
first
like,
thing
oh,
that
I'm
came
so
into
happy.
my-
I'm going to tell Jose Jeffrey Dahmer doesn't live there.
No, Norman Bates does.
Oh, that's right. I live at the Bates Motel. No wonder.
I bet you he runs an Airbnb too.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to update because I was like, I've never seen anyone else, only him. And I was like, oh my God.
What if you start smelling a foul smell and then like...
We'll have an emergency episode.
Or what if one of these days you go up to him and you're like, hey, like, how's your mom? And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, then I'll know it was Norman at that point. So I guess if you were worried about me, you can continue to worry, right?
It still seems odd because you can wear headphones. You can do a lot of stuff. Why sit in your car out of all the places?
Yeah.
It's just odd. Like if you had a old Camaro or something, like yeah, okay, you're living your yesteryears,
Your glory days.
Yeah, with your tape deck, listening to White Snake and stuff. But
remembering when you were the quarterback for the high school team.
he could have went all the way. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I could have went all the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's freaky. It's freaky.
Okay.
Just be careful around that guy.
Okay. Well, now I'll call him Norman.
If one of these days I don't hear from you for a long time, I'm like,
Or the ghost in my house got me. Either one.
You're just doomed.
Living life on the edge here, people.
You are. But
yeah, if this show stops suddenly, we don't record anymore, and you're like, what happened to that show?
Yeah, because I can already see you on Dateline and being.
I can see my 2020.
She had her podcast, or that guy. What's his name? What's the guy's name in the Dateline guy?
Oh, Keith Morrison.
Keith Morrison.
Oh, I love Keith Morrison. He's my hero.
But they were friends. But were they?
Oh, are you in jail in this
I don't know. I might be. And I'm over here, but the neighbor.
Oh, he's like possible suspect. Here's all the red herrings, but really it was her podcast host.
I would be the one that would get locked up for that.
Yeah,
I think
probably
I'll be the first person.
And now you're putting it on record. I mean, you're basically telling everybody.
But it's not me. I promise you, it's not me. Promise.
They're going to edit this and they're going to cut that part out when they air it. And they're going to chop it together like different words where it says, I killed Robbie.
The podcast killer.
Ooh, look, you're already picking out your name and everything. So you're going to write the department letters to taunt them, and you're going to sign it.
It'll be on My Favorite Murder and everything.
Yeah.
We'll get our ratings up if that makes you feel any better.
True. They'd be like, oh my God, let's go back. Let's see if we can figure out when he snapped.
Listen to all of it.
Yeah, all evidence. You'll get lots of downloads that week. Please don't murder me.
No, I mean, I got to do what I got to do for the ratings, girl. So, don't.
I understand.
It's what it is.
It's okay.
But but anyways, back to this show. So today we're gonna be talking about crushes.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh, we've had so many.
you know, I kind of always felt like, so I did a little bit of research on it, right? And I had some questions and some things, my experiences. But I always felt like I was the only one that had a crush.
Mm.
Because I can't really recall my buddies ever talking about any of their crushes. Ever. Ever. And I think, and I think you've told me that I think you've had crushes in the past when you were younger or whatnot. So I think I have heard that, but I always felt that it was unique to me. It's like, why am I the only guy that has crushes?
I remember my first crush actually was my cousin's boyfriend. He obviously was way older. He was like
How
double
old were
my
you?
age. I was a little kid.
Oh,
like,
okay. Oh, well, that's a cute little crush.
I'm just saying, I remember like, because I think when I think crushes, I think it's someone that you're not with. So I
Right,
can't
yeah,
include
yeah.
my little boyfriends that I talked about
Right.
like
Yeah, that's
before.
not a crush,
No,
no,
yeah. It was which they eventually got married. And then when I grew up, well, I wasn't, I don't know what
You're little. You know what it reminds me of, though? You ever seen Legends of the Fall?
yes.
When the little girl.
Oh, I don't
they were
remember in that detail.
Yeah, so there was the little girl, right? She was a Native American little girl, and she lived on the farm. And that girl that was engaged was talking to her, and they were talking about Tristan, Brad Pitt's character.
Well,
and
who
she's
doesn't
like,
have a crush on
I
Brad
know,
Pitt?
but she was just like, oh, you like Tristan? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna marry him.
Yeah, I think I was saying that too. My cousin's boyfriend looked like Ross Geller. That's what
I
I
don't know
thought.
who that is. Who is that?
From Friends, the character.
Oh,
Geller?
Ross.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Ross.
I don't know. I know what his real
Oh
name. I didn't
yeah.
know him by.
Well, everybody calls him Ross Geller
because his real name is. Now I don't know.
Oh
that.
my god! And I remembered until you said it.
I just forgot it. Never mind. Let's Ross. Let's just.
Oh my god.
So Ross, yeah. David Schwimmer.
Oh yes,
That's what it is.
Schwim.
Yeah,
He's so cute. But but I remember like I don't know when Friends came out. I don't know if Friends was a show, but I'm just saying like when I got older, I equated him to he looks like Ross Geller.
Gotcha.
The Schwims.
Yeah. So what about in later life when you got like teenager years?
No, he wasn't my type.
No, but did you have crushes?
Oh
Yeah. No, I know that's not your type now. Yeah. I get that. I know you well enough to know that that's not the dude.
I actually, when I was thinking about this episode, I remembered my like, I'm gonna say high school crush, but I never. And it's funny, like I never told this guy, but I don't know what. And we never hung out or anything. But I did have a crush, like all through high school, on this guy that we didn't run in the same circles or anything. There's something about him I just thought was really cute. But I was kind of like disappointed later in life that I should at least said it.
Yeah, that's the regret.
I know.
But then I don't know, because I was thinking about that, right? Because there's two different types of crushes, or not two different, but it can start from kind of, let's say, far away, right? And you admire them or whatever.
A full-on Monet.
Yeah. But it changes if you interact with that person.
Oh, 100%.
Now all of a sudden it's a different thing altogether.
Oh, I usually lose my crush at that point. When I actually talk to
Most
my
people
crush,
do.
like it's like, ugh. I'm just gonna admire you from afar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because when you have a crush, especially if you don't know them well, right? You tend to have all these these fantasies,
right?
About
Envisioning
them.
what they're like.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because it does feel real. Like you can imagine. I know I've gone into just way out there, like imagining like growing old with those people, imagining like if we were out and about in at a ball or something. I've been dressed in a tuxedo. She has her gown on. Like it's just weird. Having kids together, like family night. Like it just goes in these weird, like I don't know, fantasies that I have. And you can even picture like what their kids would look like and how you would interact and how it'd be have the white picket fence and the big house and all that other stuff. And it's such a weird thing. And so I did kind of research a little bit about that. And apparently like everybody has crushes or that's what they say, everybody. But it sometimes speaks to things that are not fulfilled in your life. So things that are missing. Because another dynamic to it is it's one thing if you have a crush on somebody and you're single.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different dynamic if you have a crush on somebody and you're with somebody.
Okay, so if you have a crush on somebody when you're with someone, that you're saying it means you're missing something in your
Well,
relationship?
they're saying that crushes in general,
Oh, okay.
something is not being fulfilled in your life.
Can't you just find someone attractive if you're single and you're like, oh, that guy's really cute? That means I'm not fulfilled because I.
Well, it depends, right? It depends. So, like, depending on the crush, let's say the crush that you have, maybe that person's married.
Mm.
So it really can't materialize into anything. I mean, it can, but that's a different.
It could.
I mean,
I mean, anything's possible.
I mean, look, it's not out of. It's not completely,
Out of reality.
Yeah, that it could possibly happen, but it's interesting. It's interesting because people tend to have crushes on, and you don't know everything. So that's the other part, is that the fantasy is always better than the reality of it.
You know what's weird? Just me think. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to that, but like I have the opposite effect. If I have a crush
People don't
on,
have crush on me.
well, I'm sure nobody does. But no, like if I have a crush on someone and I find out either that they're married or they're in a relationship, I lose my crush immediately.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird because I know there's no point. Why fantasize? Why even try to pretend?
Well, there's no point of any of it.
Well, I'm just saying that like if you're both single and let's say you kind of have a little crush and you're like, oh, you're like what you say, you start envisioning things, you may get up the courage to eventually ask her out. It's a possibility. But if he's taken, I'm not interested in that.
But it's still part of the fantasy. You don't have to act on the fantasy.
No, I'm not saying act on it, but I find myself just not being attracted to them anymore when I find out that they're taken. I don't know why, but like it's kind of the same thing we talked about a long time ago with like work relationships. Like
he's used. You don't want him anymore. I don't want to use.
no, but like if there's a guy in the
want
office
pre-owned.
and he's dated a bunch of women in the department,
Yeah.
that automatically would be like, no, I wouldn't have a crush on, like that's not for me.
Why?
Because
usually I thought there was the opposite. I thought women liked guys.
I'm sure it is. I'm
that-
saying for me, it seems weird because what you just said,
Yeah.
like research wise, I'm the opposite. Because there's
Yeah.
no point. I think when I crush, it's maybe like there's actually a chance, and when I know that there's not, then I lose it.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing, right? For me, crushes, and it's been a long time since I've had one, but it's all fantasy for me. So for me, I'll stay in that zone of the fantasy, never really acting on it. I will say this, I'm an adult now. So like you said, and many times when I was younger and I had crushes and I never really went, took my shot, so to speak. I regret those.
Yeah.
And so now as an adult, I would never do that. If I'm single, obviously. If I'm single, I'm going to go. But I'm trying to think. I never really had any crushes or daydreams or anything again when I was married. It was much different. It was much different back then.
Yeah, I just maybe because I've never been married before. I don't know what that part would be like if I felt like I had a crush. Because like I said, I mean, if I'm single, I can have crushes, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a possibility we're gonna get together. But then, like I said, as soon as I find out that they have a girlfriend or a wife, then it's like, oh well, then I don't like them anymore.
Yeah, well, and I've heard a lot of people say like, when they were in high school, they had crushes on people, and then they get older and they become adults and now they're in their 30s or whatever, and then they like reconnect.
I've seen that happen.
I used to have a crush on you, and then they start dating and stuff.
Well,
and
I've seen it on like my Facebook where it'd be like two people that we were all in the same grade, and then they weren't together, and then now in their mid 30s, they find each other somewhere, and then now they're together, and I'm like, oh, I remember you guys.
They'll be like, sometimes they're like, I had a crush on you.
Yeah.
I was crushing on you so hard in high school. You never knew.
Yeah.
So one of them never knew that the other.
I don't think I would. If I told my crush, it's not like, I don't think we'd be together. I regret it because it just feels unfinished. Like I should have said what I felt instead of like, yeah, like I don't want to be with this person now, but I'm just saying like, I don't know.
At the time you wanted to declare your love.
I just feel I don't want to regret not saying what I feel about something when it's innocent enough.
There's a lot
I could have told him on like graduation
Let me
night.
tell you something. There's a lot of things that I'm glad I never said. I'm glad I kept my mouth shut.
But even if I like had seen this person somewhere now, and let's say, I'm not mean it in a flirty way or anything. I'm just like, hey, it's nice to see you again. Oh, by the way, this is funny. I had a crush on you all through high school and I never said anything. I'm not saying it for it to go anywhere. It's just like, I just want that person to know. Maybe it make them feel really good.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, if I had someone from my high school come back to me and be like, "Oh, I had a crush on you like so hard." Like it would make me feel good. Like, "Oh, that's nice."
So yeah, nobody's ever said that to me,
Well,
but even if they did, I don't know. I don't know.
that wouldn't make you feel flattered if someone was like, "Jose, I was too scared in high school to tell you, but I thought you were so cute."
Well, look, I, yeah, I can't even with all
You
my
wouldn't be
imagine.
flattered by that?
I suppose. I guess it depends. I don't know. It depends.
What would be the bad outcome of that?
It's not so much that it's a bad outcome. It's just I would have to wrap my head around it because what you're doing, right, is it alters the past, even though the past can't be altered, right? So supposedly, the past is the past, right?
Then so
But
that other person would be thinking, or you would be thinking, well, if I knew that at the time, maybe my life would have
yeah,
been
well,
different.
it was different. It was so now I understand because I know that typically when you have a crush and let's say you're interacting with those people, even if it's in a small capacity, you do your hardest to mask your feelings. Most people do, right? You don't want to act all giddy and stuff, although sometimes they do. So you act differently. You act weird around people that you're attracted to versus the people that you're not.
I start sweating really bad.
Yeah, you're blushing.
Yeah.
It's called
I
blushing.
look like a tomato.
I do too. I mean, I used to. I don't really blush anymore. So every now and again, it'll just be hot. But yeah, I blush quite a bit. Or I'm just gonna like, okay, nice. I'm just sitting here like a sweat thing or whatever.
Yeah, because like if I'm talking to like, my crush or whatever, and we're joking, so you're like, you're laughing, your temperature's already going to go up, and then you're like, oh, he's so cute and all this stuff. But like, yeah, I start sweating.
Well,
really
and it's
bad.
also, again, the more you interact with them, because I know in some instances, I know. So the only time I've ever forced because you can do that too, because that's one of the things that I had brought up, or one of the things that I read about is that if you do have a crush and you identify it, you can stop it, but you have to consciously stop. It takes
By
willpower.
saying, here's the reasons why it won't work.
Well, everybody's different. Everybody has to do it, but it does require a strong amount of willpower, and you have to readjust yourself to not have a crush on that person. So what I mean by that is that there's been times when I was attracted to certain women, and I knew because I had interacted with them a little bit that there's no way on earth, at least not at that time, that I would stand a chance in hell to get with them.
To not torture yourself, you
Exactly.
force yourself not to have a crush on them anymore.
Exactly. So at that point, and it's weird because the way I do it is I have to bring them down because I tend to put them up on a pedestal.
But isn't that the same as what I just said a minute ago about how if I know they're taken, it immediately, like, I don't have a crush on them anymore because I'm forcing myself knowing it's not going to happen.
Right. But for me, it's different because the way I do it is I tend to put them up on pedestals.
Okay.
So the way you're right. Your technique is to say, okay, it's not going to ever happen. So I'm not, for that reason, I'm not going to have a crush on them. For me, it's like, okay, it's not going to happen. So how do I get myself out of it? And the way I do it is I bring them down from the pedestal.
They're like, well, her teeth are weird.
Well, I start to humanize them, basically.
Yeah.
So all the flaws that ordinarily I would overlook because I was head over heels about them, now I start to pay attention. Like, oh, she's like this, and oh, she's
Don't
like
we do that when we break up with someone?
Kinda,
You're like, well, I hated he did X, Y, Z.
Yeah. So to that end, that's what I end up doing, and it is just like that because that's the other kind of trap that you run into. Let's just say let's say you're an adolescent, right? So you're a teenager or something, and you have a crush on somebody, and then that somebody starts dating somebody else. For whatever reason, you might feel betrayed. It's like they didn't do anything to you, man. They never, they never professed their love to you or anything like that. So why do you feel betrayed? But you can't help it because you're like, no, that's my crush. You can't date my crush. That's my girl. What are you doing? Get your hands off my girl. So you know what I'm saying? So like, it's a weird, and it's so real. You had this whole relationship that went on in your head that nobody else was a part of.
I don't think I've ever taken it as far as like growing old together and all that kind of stuff, but I do envision being with them, but it's just more of like a present.
What do you do? Like walking hand in hand?
No, like just going to certain places with them. Yeah.
Like where?
Like,
the opera.
Sure.
No, what place would you go? Like to a beach?
Well, I don't know. It's been a really
yacht?
long time since I had a crush on someone. So I'm trying to like remember, but it's just more of, I don't know, just going out on dates and dinners and just being with them and
So you guys show up like in a Lamborghini, and then he
No,
gets
these are
out. He's
not.
in a
No, I
suit, and
don't.
he's
When
like,
I fantasize about things, it's not like things that I know are never going to happen. It's like we'll
"Well,
pull
what's
up
the
in his
point of
Camry
fantasizing about things that could happen? You
because
just
I'm more realistic than that.
take your imagination out for a spin. You
No,
don't ever take it out for a spin."
I'm just, I'm a realist and I'm like, I'm never going to be with someone who drives a Lamborghini. It's fine. But why would I have
Not
that
with that
fantasy?
attitude, you're not.
Write in if you have a Lamborghini and you want to talk.
you know, what's weird is that I've had, imaginations that I thought were so far fetched that it would never happen, and then they ended up happening. When that happens, it's awesome. It's awesome. Now, I'm not saying that my life is perfect because it's not, right? And I'm not saying that I've gotten everything that I wanted, but I'm telling you, man, there's sometimes when I'm just like, and I don't know if that's just lack of imagination on my part, or I think it was okay. And this is going to it was totally digress, but I just, because we're talking about imagination, right? But there was a guy, I think it was Tony Robbins, that guy, the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
motivational speaker or whatever. And he was talking about one time that there was a homeless guy, and he asked him for a quarter or something. This was like in the 80s or something. So I'm like, why would he want a quarter? But he
Can't buy you nothing.
get nothing.
Not today's economy.
Like, it's not like back in the 50s and stuff where
That'll
nickel
get
could
you-
get you a hamburger, fries, and a
Cup
drink.
of coffee, ice cream, the newspaper.
Yeah, and you give him a nickel. Here you go.
And a tip.
Well, that includes it too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But anyways, he wanted a quarter or something like that. Maybe it was $1. I don't know. Maybe it was 5. Doesn't matter. It was a very minuscule amount. And the guy walked up to him and he was like, "Hey, can I have, let's just say $1?" And he looks at him and he's like, "Okay, so you just want $1?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I want $1. Can you please, give me $1? I want to go buy something. I forgot, whatever." So he was like, "All right." He gave him $1. And he just said to him, he's like, "Why did you shoot so low?" It's like, if that's your ultimate goal was to get $1 and you got it, like, that's a very low goal. And so I don't know but that stuck with me because I'm just like, okay, I get in the realm of possibility. I'm not going to get everything that I want. I'm not going to live perhaps, maybe, but there's nothing wrong with imagining it and not striving towards that goal. Whether or not I attain it, it's irrelevant. But let's just say in the realm of possibility, if I wanted to say, okay, where would I want to be, right? And I'm not saying that would make me happy, but let's just say to a point where I'm a millionaire, don't have to worry about money, don't have to worry about this, and I can do whatever I want. I don't know. That's a good imagination. Whether or not I get there, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess from time to time I may be like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to have this or whatever. But I'm just thinking about the crush part of like, I don't know. When I think of a crush, I'm putting them in my real life scenarios right now. It makes it more real for me. I don't know how other people, when they imagine stuff, but it's like, if I see a guy and I have a crush on him and I'm imagining we're, in the Lamborghini and all this kind of stuff, it's so far fetched that it kind of takes me out of the fantasy. Like when you watch like a movie that's like about
what?
Like, like aliens or whatever. And it's like, it takes you out of reality. But if you watch something about a serial killer, which is very real, you're going to be more in it, right?
I guess I don't want to dream or crush or think about serial killers.
When I have a crush, I'm thinking about them in real life scenarios right now. If they we started dating in my life right now, not this make believe. We have tons of money and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying it's easier for me to imagine having my normal life I have now with that person.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Imagination is good, and you can have it somewhat grounded in the realm of possibility, right? Like if I drink too much and then go drive, I can imagine that I'm probably going to get into an accident, and that can really happen, right? So you play that out. But I'm saying in the realm of playing around, right? Like it just totally, totally different, totally whatever. Now again, I hear what you're saying is that it's dangerous because why would you build yourself up to so much knowing that it may or may not be attainable? But you know what I've learned in this world? This world is trippy. Like things that, and again, I came from not having nothing to where I'm at now. And when I was a kid, and this is probably sad, when I was a kid, I couldn't imagine my life as it is now.
Yeah.
It's better than even my imagination would have allowed me to think.
Oh, when I was little, I thought my life would be much better. I did. I was like, man. Jose needs a
That is
minute.
the best thing I've ever. Fuck. That is. I'm sorry that it's such a disappointment.
I didn't mean it the way it came out like that.
God. Oh my goodness. Okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying.
Hold on. We got to explore this
Okay.
just for a
cry over
second.
here.
Indulge me just a second, just a little bit, please. What did you think your life would be like? What is it now that you?
It's not.
Well,
I
what
don't
did you
have a
think?
bad life now. I'm just saying,
No,
in
and I'm not
terms
saying
of
that's
like
not. What was the
money
difference,
and
though?
possessions, when I was little, seeing these, beautiful women out and they have these fancy clothes and fancy cars and fancy neighborhoods. As a little kid, I was like, I want that life.
Yeah.
Being in the city and having lots of money and this and that. I'm not saying my life is bad. I'm just saying I dreamed it would be that, but it's not that.
I mean, it kind of, what's weird about that is that your imagination was bigger when you were a kid. And then it seems like it diminished a little bit. It got more grounded as you got older, and mine was the
because
opposite.
Life had beaten me down.
Right. And so for me, it was the opposite because I grew up like you're going to get a job. You're going to be a working stiff. It's going to be a laborer's job. That's what I was told. And that's what I believed until forever. And my life is not like that. And I would be happy to get just a small little house. And that was it. And don't get me wrong, my house is very big now, but it's much better than I could have imagined when I was a kid. What's interesting now is as an adult, I dream way bigger now.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah, a lot of stuff is possible. But that's just, who did you think you could be married to? Or did you think you were going to be married? Did you think you're...
No, some hot guy. I don't know.
Yeah? How many, like, how far did your imagination go? Do you remember?
You mean like my age?
Age, kids, family, like everything?
It might have been like family where they were young, like little kids.
Yeah.
So like the dating, the getting married, buying the house, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like, oh man, and I'm going to have like this super important corporate job. And like, I'm going to be wearing these suits every day to work. And like, yeah.
That's not far from where you're at now. It's
working from home in PJs? I mean, I guess.
I mean, COVID being what it is, but it's not that far off.
No, I'm
really.
not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say I have a bad life. I'm just saying we're talking about crushes, okay? We don't need to have a therapy session about my childhood.
I'm just saying your crush was probably in this, fantasy that you had about whatever.
Oh, that was my high school crush. No, I'm thinking about when I was little.
Yeah. Well, and so that's the other thing, right? So again, I know we touched on interacting with them, and sometimes that can turn you off too.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been around, like when I had a crush on somebody and I thought that they were pretty or whatever, and then I interacted with them and I was like, oh,
that's why they say never meet your heroes or celebrities that you like, because it's like if they're like normal people, like not nice people.
Yeah, crappy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a nice word, but like, yeah, you're going to be like, oh, and you won't be a fan of theirs anymore, or they may not be your hero anymore.
That's the other part. Never really like had a hero, like not like that anyways. Well, I did have heroes, but not celebrities or athletes. Or
I'm just saying, like when I talk to my crush, like I usually, if they're really like corny or like we don't like any of these same things, I'm just saying like how quickly you can fall from being like, oh my God, look at that guy, to like, go away, please.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is, like I was telling you, I was watching that Netflix special. I think Ramesh, and I can't remember his last name, but he was talking about how he doesn't like to meet people because he is somewhat famous. Now, you probably wouldn't, in the States, he's not as famous as he was in the UK, but he's pretty well known in the UK. But he was just saying he doesn't like the pressure of, you only have 30 seconds to make a first impression.
Yeah.
And if you're catching them at a bad time,
Yeah. And
you
you
know what I
always
mean?
have to be on.
Yeah. And then you're like, from there on in, you're like, you know what? I met so and so and he's such a jerk.
So
It's
let's say
like,
you had like a crush on somebody in the office, and then one day they just had like a terrible morning and you see them punch the coffee machine or something.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like I've talked to them, or and this is bad too, is that sometimes if you find out, because this has happened to me before, because let's say they have a history, let's say you work with them or even in school and they have a history, and then you find out about a history that you had no idea, and it turns out, whatever.
Yeah.
Like let's say she gets around.
Yeah.
That's not, I'm an adult now. So like, come on, realistically, and I date women in, their 40s. So realistically, trust me, I know I'm not
All
the first.
virgins.
Yeah.
40
Some of us
virgins is what
have
you get.
kids, multiple kids. Trust me, I'm not the first.
Yeah.
But I think part of it, the crush, when you have that, for me, I tend to put them up on pedestals. And now you got to bring them down a peg or two, right?
Do you think maybe that's why sometimes too when we do talk to them, it falls so fast is because we've already put them so high up?
And now it's like, no, they're human, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Just like everybody
Kind of
else.
disappointing. Sometimes I like to have a crush from afar just for fun.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like, oh, that guy, whatever.
Well,
but
and here's the difference, though, because guys can't really do that because now, somewhere along the line, they invented the word stalker. And as soon as they invented the word stalker, we were pretty much dead in the water. Because we were like, okay, now you can't have a crush on anybody because now you're going to be deemed a quote unquote stalker.
well, Jose, I mean, if you're waiting out in your car for them to come out in the garage, then I mean, you shouldn't be doing that stuff.
I've never stalked, but you can cyber stalk people now too.
Oh, that's true. But they don't know, do they?
I don't know. I always thought that it comes up on the people you might know.
I thought that too, but I think that's linked to like your phone numbers because it's always like people that I've had their phone numbers in my phone
It might be.
because it connects like Facebook has like your phone number and stuff, right?
Yes and no, because no, not always. So there are people that are not in my phone that come up as people you may know.
So that means they're looking at your
Well,
profile.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if that's part of it or if we just have mutual friends and they're just trying to
that's the other
connect
thing,
people
too.
as mutual friends.
Yeah.
But like I
Mutual
have a lot of friends on Facebook now. So like why do the
What,
same
Mr.
people
Popular?
No, I'm just saying why do
Oh
the
my
same
God, there's so
what
many
is- no,
friends.
I'm just saying like why do the same people keep popping up over and over? That doesn't make any sense.
Sounds like you got some stalkers.
I mean, somebody's looking at my page.
It was me.
Well, and
What
that's
if I was cyber stalking you?
you don't pop up. So I think we're already friends on Facebook, so you don't pop up as a potential person that I might know. But yeah, I just the part of it is humanizing them a little bit,
Yeah.
and I would love if there was anybody like I don't even know what it would be like to have a crush on somebody, and then you start interacting, and then actually turns into something, and then they became a couple. Like that would freak me out so much.
Well, that's happened to me. Isn't that a normal thing?
That you have a crush on somebody and then
Yeah.
it turns into something? No, that's not a normal thing.
But isn't that like how typical like workplace relationships start? Is you start crushing on them from afar, and then you start talking to them, and then you guys get together.
Not always, but tell me more.
Well, just like, I mentioned before that I've dated a lot of people that I work with in my past life. And so like, yeah, I would start out like that. Like, I'd be like, oh, that guy's really cute. And then you kind of start interacting a little more and more.
Yeah, but again, you're not just the exception in the way you think. You're also an exception in the way you look. So it's a different, you can't say it that way because again, you're way different in that aspect. And you're a woman. So like
Okay.
you're attractive. And so if you have a crush on a dude, chances are he's going to reciprocate. I would probably have a different I would have a different outcome. So I could be because again, I've told you before, I think I'm a solid 5 at my best. At my best, I'm a solid 5. So usually the women that you're crushing on, they probably have more options. So if they have more options, chances are
So
I'm not
do you think
usually an
that
option
women
for them.
crush less then because we're women and we're typically it's going to
No,
be easier for us?
I think depending on the woman and depending on how you look or whatever, I think a crush can actually turn into something.
Okay.
Whereas for a guy, you just have to admire him from afar forever.
Well, I mean, like some of these people, I mean, like I said, if they were married or in long-term relationship or whatever, you know what I mean? It wouldn't, I don't know. I'm just saying that's typically how it starts.
Yeah, that's how it started. But that's what I'm saying. It's different because it's one thing to crush on somebody, and then let's say I find somebody attractive and I go up to him and I talk to him. Again, if I get shot down, I get shot down, I go away. But if you're crushing, that's a whole nother thing because now you're really liking them. So it's going to be hard for you to interact with them because you've built yourself up so much.
Yeah.
It's like you see it with anxiety, right? You see it with anxiety because people that have anxiety, let's say you have a presentation and the presentation's not till Friday and it's Monday. From here until Monday, you're going to be thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about everything that can go wrong, everything that you need to prepare for. What if I get there and I lose all my notes? Or what if it's the wrong notes? Or what if my computer goes down? What if and so you build yourself up so that by the time you do it, you're so wound up, chances are you're probably going to mess everything up. So when you're crushing on it, again, it's like you get too built up in your brain. So you can't act cool. And it happens all the time, right? Like, let's say I'm the smoothest dude in the world, but the moment that I'm crushing on somebody, I can't be that dude anymore.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
awkward. I'm sweaty. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to say something stupid. I'm going to have a stupid laugh.
I've seen that with like some guys in my past that try to talk to me and I know they have a crush and they do weird stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, I get it. He's going through something. Like he's having a hard time with this.
I hate it.
I'll give you a pass. I wonder if the guys that I had crushes on noticed how sweaty I got. Because remember, that was like my telltale sign. I'm red and sweaty. They're probably like, why is this girl hot?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was asking Charlene Theron, did you ever have a crush on anybody? It'd be hard. Her experience is going to be different than the rest of the world. Or if I asked Brad Pitt, did you ever have a crush on somebody? He's like, yeah, of course, but he's Brad Pitt.
You look exactly like Brad Pitt.
Minus the blue eyes and the brown hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It just, and there are characteristics. The pupils dilating. That's one of the telltale signs of.
Well, and that's something you can't hide.
I mean,
glasses, sunglasses, look down.
Exactly.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry, because I thought about this. Why is it that when a guy, well, I'm only speaking from a woman's perspective, but when guys have a crush on me or whatever, they have a hard time looking at me in the eye.
Yeah.
Why are they always looking around?
Eye contact is key. Why are they always looking around? Because they're self-conscious. And now you're seeing them. So seeing them.
But don't they know that I'm seeing them looking all around and having a full-blown conversation with me instead of looking at me?
So something happens, and it correlates between, so in the crush, what's happening is you almost get into the flight or fight situation. It's akin to fear.
Okay.
So if I'm in your presence and I'm crushing on you, I don't know what to do. So you looking at me is going to, but you know what's weird about that? And I've been with women before where I know that they liked me, right? For whatever reason, but they found me attractive. And so whenever I would stare at them, and I wasn't like, like a creepy stare because we're together, right?
Right.
We're dating, but they would get very giddy. And they'd be like, oh, don't look at me, which is a weird, maybe that's the same, maybe that's what ends up happening. But we're already dating though.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, well, I'm looking at you like we've been dating, like we've done a lot.
Yeah.
At that point, we've probably already been intimate, but they're like, oh, don't look at me. Like, I don't want you to, don't look. I'm like,
I've done that before and I never really thought about it. But yeah, even if I'm with someone and they're just gazing at me like that, I'd be like, what? Like, stop looking at me.
No, but imagine, and I think we all have, like, where you're with somebody that you're completely attracted to, and you're dating them.
Yeah.
So, but you're still really, really attracted to them. So it's
as you should be.
As you should be. But you know how it is. Sometimes you're attracted to different things. It's not always going to be a super passionate love affair. But let's just say that you are like super duper duper attracted to them, and you're dating them. Like, yeah, I can see. So that's why they're very self-conscious. Like, they don't want you to look at them and stuff like that. So
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you off of your topic.
No. Because they do stuff like that. Like, even if somebody's interested, they'll come up to you. Like, they kind of highlighted a couple of things. Like, they'll ask you questions. I don't know. It's just to show interest. They mirror your behavior. That's another one. So I don't know why. I guess they would agree with everything that you said.
Didn't you say that a long time ago about women mirroring men and how like everybody wants to be mirrored? I think you said something like
absolutely.
So like they're doing that subconsciously mirroring them?
Yeah, I mean, look, and here's the thing. I think it's weird, right? So being on the opposite side of that, you don't know if they genuinely like you because they have a crush on you or if they want something from you. So let's just say, for the sake of argument,
Well, I
that
know
you
what all men want from me.
to talk.
Yes. Read books together? Of course.
Long walks in the park,
Yes.
because I know that's what most men want. They just want to walk on the beach, barefooted on the beach.
Talk about emotions.
Yes. And then you go to your room, and then I go to my room, and that's it. We go to sleep. And then the next morning,
We talk about our dreams.
Yes. We go to church.
Yes.
That's it.
Nailed it.
That's what most guys want from you. But what was I talking about? Mirroring. Oh, yeah. So like it's one of those things that like and I think you feel it. Like sometimes if you're not too narcissistic, and if you make a joke and somebody laughs way too hard.
Like you did earlier?
No. But yours was really funny because it's like you didn't envision sitting across with some Mexican guy named Jose when you were a little girl, like talking into a microphone. Sorry it worked out for you that way. You had this Ken doll guy that you were married to in this fancy schmancy place. Not this. I'm sure you didn't never imagine this. But no, just like, you crack a joke and they laugh too hard, and it's just like, like I'm
You're
funny,
like,
but I'm not that funny.
Yeah.
So like either A, do they really like you, or do they want something from me? Like what's going on here?
I think that for me, I would take that more as you want something from me, because if you really like me, you're going to try to be genuine with me, because I think people can.
You would think.
Oh, I know,
They
but
try
I
to
think a lot of
impress.
times we can feel a genuineness with people when we're having a deep conversation. So why would I use that time to be fake? If I really like you and I want to be with you, I'm going to try to be my genuine self. Because if you like that, we could be successful. Me being fake, whatever.
Well, but that's the whole point, right? Not to digress too far, but that's the thing, right? It's like you feel they're not going to like me. So if I show them my true self, and don't get me wrong, that is a possibility, right? You run the risk, because all you could do, and I tell my kids all the time, all you could do is be yourself. There's going to be people that like you, and there's going to be people that do not like you, and you have no control over that. The best that you can do is just be yourself. And the people that like you, they'll hang out with you, and the ones that don't, they don't. So you're right, being genuine around somebody that you like or potentially like. Because here's the thing about crushes, right? And it's a very superficial thing, because you have nothing to base it on.
Yeah.
Now, the only other difference, or let's say you did know that person and you start liking them, but let's say they're married or something like that's a different story, because now
Right.
you're coveting, now you're jealous, now you want what somebody else has, right? So that's a dangerous thing. But a crush, you don't know anything about them. You're just fantasizing. For me, and when I think of a crush, I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about you, but you're hot. And you're, or not even hot, maybe you're just cute.
Yeah.
And now I'm like smitten, and like I want to be around you, and I want to, like, you can do no wrong. I don't know. That gets, I don't know.
Do you think that scares some people into not telling their crushes? Because what if it is amazing? It's
Right,
still,
that's what I'm saying. But then you get judged. So let's say you are that way, and then you tell them, and then like, yeah, you're not my type, or I don't like you.
Yeah.
Now what do you do?
Yeah. It's much more fun to fantasize.
It is, because you put yourself out there, and to get crushed it can be
Literally.
Yeah.
Well,
And my understanding is, I don't know if times have changed, but it used to be, I don't know. I think girls are a little bit different, because you guys can go and flirt, and the guy will be responsive pretty fast. The guy will let you know if he likes you. It's different for guys flirting with girls. It's a much different vibe. Like, you don't know. You guys are good at masking.
yeah. I got some thoughts on that, but that's a whole other episode.
We're definitely gonna. We definitely need to explore that. But anyways, for crushes, it's a very superficial thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm just basing it purely on looks,
Yeah.
and I don't know that person, and so yeah. Again, they could be sweet, they could be horrible.
Yeah.
Like you never know. They could be jerks. They could be absolute, just
Yeah.
horrible individuals. But yeah.
Crushes is such a weird thing anyway, because you can have it literally from like when you're like a baby. You know how babies flirt and they're all whatever. It's like clearly, even as a baby, we know, hey, I'm attracted to this. You know, I get little babies in strollers flirting with me, you know, like just cutesy stuff, right? But you can also, up until like you're dead of old age, you could still have crushes on people in the nursing home. Like crushes don't go
Technically,
away.
yeah, yeah. But again, it's still, you know, when I read that thing about there's something that's missing in their lives, like let's say you're married, and let's say your husband's not or your wife is not very attentive, and there's somebody at work that you start thinking is cute or whatever, and let's say you observe them from afar and you
It
see that they're
seems
very
there.
nice or whatever. Now all of a sudden, now your mind starts wondering like, well, what if I was with her? She would probably
Yeah.
take care of me, and she seems like she would, she's always baking for the team and bringing stuff in for people. Like she's so sweet and blah blah blah. So now you're going into
Yeah.
dangerous territory
That
because
is.
you're with somebody. So, but there, I think it speaks to something greater. I think there's something missing in your life. There's something, whether it's, with that person, maybe you need to have that conversation and be like, hey, something's off. Or I don't know.
Well, isn't that like an obvious thing of how affairs start? You know, you're already like missing something, and then you kind of start to crush, and then it turns into an affair.
Yeah, yeah.
Because isn't that why people have affairs? Is something is missing? Maybe not in the relationship, but just something that they think.
Yeah, I've heard that affairs are not the problem; they're a symptom.
Right.
I've heard that before. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the end of it is because I have a hard time thinking of
I think if you're
cheating.
truly fulfilled, I don't think you would have an affair. I just don't feel that. I feel like you're missing something, and whatever that is, it could be physical, it could be emotional, who knows? But
It could be. I don't know because I've also heard people say that they've had affairs, but they still love their significant others. I've heard that
it
before.
doesn't mean that something's not missing, though. You can
Fair,
love
fair enough.
someone.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, it's not acceptable. So that means nothing to the
Right.
person that just got betrayed. They're like, I don't care. Because they tend to equate it, and I most certainly did. It's like, well, if you love me, then you wouldn't have done that. So
Yeah.
you don't, or at least your love has changed. It's not what I interpret love to be.
That would also be a dangerous time if you were unhappy in your marriage relationship and you did have a crush, let's say at work, and because things are bad, that kind of gives you the courage to start talking to them and maybe you start liking them more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You have to be careful when things are not good. You really need to stay focused on your partner because it's very
Yeah,
easy
absolutely.
to get straight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, you have to consciously think about that and be like, don't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, because if you already have a crush on someone at work, things are not good, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go say hello. I don't do it.
Hello. But I think, and I don't know, I'm assuming, I've seen it where people take advantage of the fact that other people have crushes on them.
Oh, like to get things.
Yeah. Yeah. To get things all the time. Like if somebody's crushing on somebody, they're going to, let's say it's at work, they're going to expedite their report or they're going to get them to do stuff.
I was like, I really need to get this done.
Yes.
Can you please?
But you know what's funny about that is that if that happens to me, I immediately get turned off. That is because now I feel used
And
and
they're not being
manipulated.
genuine.
Yes, because now they know I like them and they're trying to take advantage of that. And that's when I get hardened at that point. I get upset.
That
I
would
really
make
do.
me not like them anymore. Yeah. Or I mean, like, I had one scenario where I had like a little crush on one guy back in the day. And I think we started like talking and he said something that I knew he was trying to manipulate me in the story. And immediately I was like, I'm out. Like I didn't like him anymore. Cause it's like, you've already shown me, even though he was trying to be cute about what, I don't even remember what it was, but like, it's like, no, you're manipulating me and I can tell. So shows me who you really are.
Piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a
It
it's a
can
weird
be
thing.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
In what
fun.
way?
Because it's like, I'm thinking if you like someone at school, it's like every day, like, oh, I get to see so and so. Like, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I want to look at them. And like, I see you.
But then I mean, again,
Okay,
it's
wait, let me hold on because you're saying no, but like if you like someone at your job, are you telling me that you wouldn't be a little bit pep in your step in the mornings that you get to go in and you get to see this person?
mm, here's the thing at work, no, it distracts me too much. I don't, I like to be as sterile as possible when I go to work.
Yeah, we all heard the last part, going to work.
Going to work,
Finish that
yes.
sentence.
Well, because when I'm going to work, I need to focus, right? And sometimes I need to make decisions, and I can't base them on emotion as much as. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not cold about things, but like if I know my judgment is being impaired by the fact that I dig somebody, it's dangerous for
Well,
me.
that's where most crushes are going to be though, at work. Because when you're an adult, where else I mean, maybe like you have a crush on like another parent that's at the school or something, you know what I mean? Or your kid's teacher or whatever. But like, yeah, work, that's where you're going to see the majority of
It's
adults.
it's been a while. It's been a while since I had a crush because that's what I'm saying. For me, I would follow through with it because I'm an adult now. So, well,
you?
yeah, I am. I think anyway. But no, like, well, let me just put it this way, right? So, if I'm single, then yes, I'm going to follow through with it. If
Yeah.
I'm not, then yeah, I'm not going to even entertain it. I'll probably be more like you and be like, okay, don't even,
Yeah.
don't
Don't go there.
don't start, which is weird because like if that can be done for crushes, then it's funny how anxiety we can't do that because I can tell people all day long, don't be anxious about it. Just wait until it comes prepared, and then you'll be good. But that never works. They
I guess
still
maybe it's
want to
a
be
certain
anxious about
part
it.
in our brain that we can control more when it comes to that part.
I guess. I mean, it still takes willpower,
Yeah.
but I don't know. And then the worst thing that you can do is compare your partner with the person that you have a crush on because it's an
Oh,
unfair
yeah,
comparison.
that's the worst. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
because it's like you can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say he's a good guy or whatever, and this, that, and the other. He's like, oh, look at him, he's doing this, and he works out. It's like you come back and you look at your guy friend.
Sitting on the couch, eating pizza with his shirt off.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's too vivid.
I know. Piece of sauce falls on his hairy belly.
No wonder you have a crush. I don't blame you. But yeah, crushes, and that's the part that can be very heartbreaking too. Especially if you don't know them, you admire them from afar, and then let's say they're not married, but after a while you find out that they're with somebody.
Yeah.
It could be like,
Yeah. It's like, dang it.
yeah.
Should have got there first.
I mean, what are you gonna do? But that's what I'm saying. For the majority of us, for us average Joes, crushes never really materialize too much. We know what's weird is they tend to happen, like I was saying, a lot of times what happens is, like, let's say you're in high school and you knew that, let's say she was a cheerleader, she did nothing but jocks, and you're not that. When you're a teenager, that's just what you're going to go for because you're a teenager, right? Even me, right? Let's say I was attracted to the cheerleader. Why would I be attracted to cheerleader? But, obviously there's reasons for that, right? And they're attracted to jocks. That's just the way it is. But then as you progress in life, let's say you're in your 20s or 30s, you might have a shot. Because the thought process is maybe she's not as superficial. Yeah, I'm not a jock, but is that really important? Like I make six figures. Do you really care whether or not I can play football? Is it really relevant in this time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. You can't be like super overweight and just be horrible looking, whatever. You have to have some physical appeal to it. But again, in later years, she can mature as a person, and so can you. And even then, let's say y'all do get together and it's like, oh yeah, I used to have a crush on you. Maybe you don't feel that same way anymore. And now she's a different person. But I don't know. I think it depends on when it happens and how it happens.
Have you ever dated a former cheerleader?
Yeah, my ex-wife was a cheerleader.
Oh, well, then you got your wish.
I've actually dated a few ex-cheerleaders, actually.
See?
But that's not what wasn't going
I was
for.
just thinking about that.
But I never dated him when I was in high school.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after I got out of high school that happened. So what does that tell you?
Mm.
Where's the jock now?
He's
Sitting
at
at
the
home?
gym.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's the good pizza guy?
Yeah, he's the guy sitting on the couch
Yeah.
with his shirt off, eating pizzas off his hairy chest and his beer keg of a belly. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, crushes they're something else.
Yeah.
So, but have you ever done this? Because there's sometimes you can have a guy crush, but it doesn't have to be romantic. Like, so for you, you can have a girl crush and it doesn't have to be
Like,
romantic.
I want to be friends with her?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I wish I was friends with Stacey London. That's my celebrity. She's like she was a stylist. She had that show, What Not to Wear. She wrote a book.
Okay.
She has her own business now. Anyways, I liked her personality and I'm like, man, I want to be friends with Stacey.
For me, it's Jason Momoa.
Oh, well, I want to be friends with him too.
Yeah, for different reasons.
Oh, right. Non-romantic.
I just want to hang out with the dude because he looks like he's super cool.
Yeah.
He's like a younger, taller Johnny Depp.
Reach out to him, see if you can come friends with him, and then he can come over here to record.
No, I'm not going to bring him around you. You'll taint him.
But I've heard also people, sometimes they may have a crush on the opposite sex and they find them very attractive, but it's not a sexual thing.
Yeah, it's not a sexual thing. I just want to hang out with the dude, but I don't want to get with him.
No, but I'm just saying, like, some guys would be like, oh yeah, like if they say Brad Pitt, he's very attractive. Like, it's almost like a man crush, even though they're not,
Yeah, it's a man crush in the sense that, I don't know, it's a weird, like you admire them. You don't necessarily want to be them because that's creepy. It's a whole nother realm. But it just be cool to know them and hang out with them, kind of thing. Or even just to, I don't know, it's weird. Man crushes are different. I think a lot of men have man crushes on athletes. If you're big into athletics and stuff, yeah, because like Tom Brady is a big one, right? Because they're always going on, and he's a great guy. But I'm sure like a lot of guys are like, Tom Brady is the best. Like he's awesome, and he does this, and but he's a guy just like everybody.
He's the GOAT, right?
He is the GOAT. And actually, I feel bad for the guy. I think he's about to get a divorce. So sorry.
Not the GOAT for somebody.
Well, what's funny is apparently his wife was like, I don't want you to play football anymore. And he's like my age. And he's like, but I want to play. And she's like, okay, then I'm out.
Because he wasn't around, or what do you mean?
I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. Supposedly that conversation has happened quite a few times. And every year he thinks it's going to be the last year, but he's like,
that's sweet that she wants him around more.
Yeah,
that's nice.
but it's not so sweet that she's saying, okay, I'm out now. So she's out.
It's probably really hard to be with someone who's gone a lot like that and probably very desirable to other women.
I don't know. I know this was about crushes, but I'm just saying, like, that's who he is. He's been playing in the NFL for like a long, long time. And that's how she met him. Granted, he's extended his career a lot further than anybody.
You're saying she knew what she was getting into. For her to say, I'm out now, is kind of unfair, knowing that he was playing football.
I mean, if I date a supermodel and she's traveling all the time and I don't want you to be a supermodel anymore. And she's like, but that's my career. That's what I want to do. It's my passion.
I get it.
I still care about you and love you, but this is what I want to do. Why would you not be supportive?
Yeah. What if they were like married? Let's say Tom Brady wasn't playing football and they got married and then he started playing and they had an agreement like, okay, you can play for 5 years. After that, I want you home. And then he loved it so much and then he didn't want to. Is it okay for her to be like, well, I'm out? Because we had an agreement.
Look, it's okay for her to feel the way she is. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying that, like things don't change. What I am saying is that he lives, breathes, talks. He is football. That's
he
what
is in the shape of a football.
He is in the shape of a football. Yeah, like yeah.
He's got laces on his face.
Yes, that's what he is. And if that's who he is, that's who he is. Now, don't get me wrong. If she doesn't want to be with him anymore, I get it. It is what it is. But it's hard to ask people to change who they are as a person. And again, he's doing something extraordinary. And I don't know. I'm sure she appreciates it, but like you have to like really it's pretty extraordinary what he's doing.
Yeah.
To be in the NFL, and then you have to, wait, I don't even want to get into this because I'm not a big sports fan, but trust me when I tell you that it is one of the most elite kind of athletic achievement that you can be at. Mm-hmm. And for him to be doing it at this age, at 45, 46, it's unheard of. And at the level that he's doing, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's nobody's ever done it before.
Well, I'm glad your crush is doing so well.
Well, yeah, I don't have a crush on him, but I'm just saying, like, I can appreciate greatness.
Sounds like
sure.
You have a crush on him. Oh, you're on a list.
I wish I could be an athlete like him, but yeah, it's a good conversation.
Yeah.
And we learned a little bit about crushes, and sorry your life didn't turn out the way. Now I'm going to hold that against you now, right? You know that. I'm going to do that thing that people do all the time. It's like, I'm sorry your life isn't what it should be or whatever.
No, I have a good life. Don't get it twisted.
No, but you know what? You know what it reminded me of when you said that? It reminded me of that. Let's say let's say you have your high school sweetheart and you guys get married, and she was awesome and she's like the most beautiful, gorgeous, and she has just a normal kind of like, like It's a Wonderful Life kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's very, traditional. Mm-hmm. She stays home and this, that, and the other, but you know how beautiful, and like she could have done a lot more, and you feel bad. You're like, I'm sorry. I wish I could have given you a lot more. And it's not a bad life, right? It's not a bad life, but it's just like, you just feel like, man, I wish I could have given you so much more. And
George Bailey only gave her that house that was falling apart, all dilapidated. And
he was going to get the moon for her. Remember?
Man,
he didn't lasso the moon.
He did not bring her the moon.
He didn't. And I've only seen that movie like once. But I will say, I had a hard time watching it because as I was watching it, I agreed with them. It's like, yeah, you do want, because remember, he wanted to go off to college. Uh-huh. He wanted to travel. He wanted to get out of that town. And I was like, yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Why don't you get out? But then at the end, he ended up staying.
Yeah.
And all of his dreams got crushed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it wasn't a wonderful life, but I'm still a little torn about
how wonderful it was, you mean?
Well, what he had envisioned and what he had imagined didn't sound too bad either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounded pretty great. Like he was traveling, going out, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Why would you want to stay in this one horse town? Mm-hmm. I get it that people needed you, but I just kind of felt like he did it for everybody else.
Well, that's why we love George Bailey. You want the audience to love him. Hot dog. Anyways.
I'll rewatch it again. Maybe we can revisit whether or not it's a good life or not. But anyways, good conversation.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.